Right, we are at Deanna Manning Stadium. Let's get a shot of the scoreboard, Darren. Did you guys make history today?
We did. I mean, CIF championship. I mean, it's pretty special. It's more special, I think for the players. I mean, they deserve all the credit. Working hard every day, day in and day out. So I can't be more proud of the girls and more happy for them for getting a CIF championship.
So I know, and I've heard reporters ask you questions. I heard your post-game speech. Yeah, she only struck out one. Scoreboard 6-0, shutout. She went the distance champions. And can you talk about how she grinded through? And then, man, Kaylee Blunt and some of the others. Can you talk about the defense behind her as well?
I think she grinded out very well. They put the bat on the ball, whether it would be fair or foul, a lot, pretty much the whole game. She's got over 200 strikeouts, so she is a heck of a pitcher. And she still pitched a heck of a game today, even with only one strikeout.
Yeah.
But defensively, Kaylee Blunt in center field, that diving catch, if she doesn't make that, it could be a 3-2 ball game. Rico at third, line drive, right down the line, she put the bat up. I mean, just some hard hits, all the way around that I think, that we made plays, and we've been making plays all season, even when Brooklyn hasn't been the one that's striking them out. We've been backing her up for the whole year.
So statistically, when you're looking at Aries Alonso's batting average, nothing would really stand out. But if you pay attention to the semifinals and the finals, you could make the argument that she was the an MVP in terms of offensively. How big was she during the playoffs, especially the last two games?
Huge. I mean, she's a girl that would love to be playing defense on the field and understands that role. She was frustrated early in the season as far as not being able to be in the field, but she's accepted her role as a DP this year, and coming through a semifinal game, hitting the 3 RBIs, 3 of the 4 runs, hitting them in, and then today had a huge 2-run double for us to put us up on the board 3-0.
And we were talking. I mentioned this to Kaylee Blunt. At the time that she made that diving catch, it was only 3-0. I mean, this is a whole different ball game.
3-0
if that ball goes,
runners at first and second and 1 out.
Yeah. I have asked you this before, but now that you actually are the champions, I know you haven't had a whole lot of time to reflect, but how cool is this?
This is cool, and it means a lot. I think more to the girls in the sense they've had a struggle the last 2-3 years. No disrespect to anybody, but in our program, it's been a struggle for them, and I can't be more proud, especially for the senior bunch, being on top, CIF champions, and then our underclassmen. Now they got to look up to something where, hey, they know now we're capable of doing certain things, and they've got to keep it step up and not have a little letdown at all going through, and we continue next year and stuff. One
of the things that really stood out in my interview with Blunt and Alonso was Kaylee, Aries said, I didn't have confidence offensively, and I asked her, I said, what turned what changed? She goes, I started working harder, and she's a poster child for look what can happen if you bust your butt.
Yes.
And is that something you preach?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, number one thing, have fun. Without a doubt. Number 2, we got to compete, and you can't compete if you're not working hard, and you're not going to have fun if you're not competing at the same time, and just having that intensity. And she is an example of understanding that, and it took her a little while, but she understood the rule as far as I got to compete if I want to show something, and she did. She has.
So not that you wouldn't be honest, but I'm going to ask you to be super honest here. What point during the year did it cross your mind that, hey, we have a shot at what you just accomplished?
I would say after we lost 12-3, you're going to think I'm weird here. After we lost 12-3 to Ayala, I knew that's not softball we played, and we had been playing pretty well up until that point. I think, though, when we had that talk the next day, and then we went and continued our season in the league, you could tell the state of the mind. You could tell the girls' attitudes no, we're not going to go back the other way, because we went to a point at the beginning of the year, won 10 straight games, had a couple of hiccups, and then we went on a good another run. I also take a look at a game. We played Venice. We didn't have our Brooklyn or Bryce that game, and we tied 5-5. And you might think I'm crazy, but that tie, because we had to work so hard to get that tie and come back. And Caitlin Mosk on that game kind of was somebody that, hey, she held her own in that game and helped us get the tie. And again, I think a couple games like that are the ones that kind of put us in the spot we did today.
So last question, and I know you're a humble guy, so I'll ask this. It's 99.9999 whatever. This is all about Bonita celebration. But as a humble guy, and I know you're respected around the league, what would you want to tell the Ayalas, the Glendoras, the Altalomas, the Claremonts, the rest of the teams in the league? What did their challenge all year? How did they help you prepare for this?
Top to bottom. I mean, you might look at some of our scores. Colony had a tough game against us. They pitched well. Glendora, even both times we beat Glendora, we had to come back, and come from behind again and get their victory. Ayala, and especially Glendora and Ayala being Division I, Division II, and they've been through this before.
Yeah.
This is kind of the first time Bonita's been to a certain, an ending part as far as and getting to the championship. And then even Claremont and Altaloma, and people might say, what do you mean? But they were all tough games to prepare us, because some leagues you can get, you look at some of the scores in CIF, they were blowouts, 23-0. We didn't have that.
And the crazy thing is like, I don't want to necessarily bash other leagues, but for example, the Pacific League in baseball, they have Arcadia and CV normally. A lot of times those schools go one and out because they're playing Glendale, they're playing Hoover, they're playing all these teams that they just run over. And I have to imagine that getting challenged, is it a 15-game season for
league? Is 15 for us, yes.
I can't imagine how that had to be one of the biggest keys in preparing you for this moment.
Absolutely, and being 13-2. I mean, we had 2 losses, a tough loss, to Glendora the second time, a blowout loss to Ayala, absolutely. I even look at our preseason. We played in the Cypress tournament, very beginning, first game of the year, we played Long Beach Millikan. And you can tell they're in the D2 finals today.
Are they?
And that was our first game of the year, and we lost 3-0. And then we go and play Irvine, and we lost to them 6-5. We were ahead, they came back and beat us in the end. So we started the season, first 2 games in the season, we were 0-2.
So you're talking to your players' parents. What do you want? I mean, I know there's still the state playoffs. Last thing, you're talking straight into the camera to them. What do you want them to know about your time with their girls?
It's been excellent. The parents should be proud of the girls. I mean,
as people too, right?
Yes, have raised great girls. It's a great team, great support. I've had nothing but support from you guys. I appreciate all the support for having us come in with myself, Coach Butler, Coach Phillip. We've appreciated everything you guys have done for us this year.
Okay.
And you guys deserve this. These girls deserve it.
Okay. So you're going to go to the